All right, really quick, I forgot. Let me show you guys how to save these so you can actually get them to a printing stage. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to minimize all of my pages so that I only see the three of these. So again, here's your t-shirt design. If you want to see how it will kind of look, it's going to actually print out like that. On these, I'm actually going to make a bit of an adjustment because what happens is there is this dotted lines that are here that you can vaguely see. You want to make sure that you keep your prints inside of these lines because if you don't, when you print, as you can see, versus different size, certain things are going to cut off. So what I'm actually going to do, this is my 2 to 3X, this is my large to extra large, and my small to medium. So you want to kind of keep your text photo in here because it's kind of based on the small to medium design so that everything fits inside. So I'm going to make a quick adjustment to my text. And again, I'm going to click on that name. I'm going to hold down my shift key so that I can drag it to fit within the decent size of the printing area. So I let mine hang out over the edge a little bit, not too much, just because again, you don't want it to go to the outside. So like this at the bottom, let me check that to save it. This at the bottom, I'm not too concerned with. Because again, it's still on the inside of the shirt. Now, the only problem is, depending on your shirt size, if your hem is down here, it may hit your hem. For mine, it's not so bad. And I'm going to move my school logo down a bit. So I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to bring that down some so that it's not inside of the collar. I'm going to move this down a bit. And I'll move this down a bit. Now these you can turn off if you're opposed to having all this extra stuff on your shirt. You could easily turn these off. So if I want to turn that off, I could turn off this one. I could also turn off this one. You know, so you can kind of just play around with it as you will. So I'm gonna put those back. I just kind of like to put those on there to kind of differentiate my all over from my oversized print. So again, I'm going to save this really quick. So you'll see down here at the bottom where it's actually saving. Now I'm going to right click and go back to my adult size. I'm going to shrink that down so that I have them all like this. So in order to get these ready for printing, you're actually going to hit right click on it. And you're going to do a quick export as a PNG. So actually before I do that, let me turn off this because I don't want this to export, because if I do it this way, it's going to export just like this, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to turn that off first. Now I'm going to close that back, and now I'm going to right click and quick export as a PNG. Now I save all of my print designs. I have a folder that I save every print design in that I'm going to use, so I know these are the designs I need to print. So I'm going to find my print folder, and I have a 125 print, so I kind of fill them out by different things I'm going to do. And I kind of named them depending on what whose design I'm working on. So I'm just going to do my 44 by that, and I'm going to change that to, I usually save it under the customer's name, which in this case is the parents. So that's that design. And now I'm going to do the same thing for my stole design. I go back to my print folder, my 125 print folder. So I'm just going to change out this part here, and I'm going to put stole. And then I'm going to go to this part here, and I'm going to put 13 by 19. So now I have each one of these. If I just wanted to print, they're going to print just like this. Now, there is a slight difference that I have to save these as if I want to do these for the mock-up. And I do like to make mock-ups of everything so that they can be seen as to how they will actually look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this folder and I'm going to go down to my background. So right now my background, this is my background layer down here. So I'm just going to scroll a bit. So all of these elements right here, if I turn off my background, you will see those are all of the elements that are in my background. So I want my background to be saved by itself. So in order to do that, all I have to do is right click here, and then I'm going to quick export as a PNG. And I'm going to put these are not what I'm going to print with, so I'll actually put these in a totally different folder. So go back to my folders. I'll put my overall mockup in there. Let me see. Should I go back to my 125? Because I usually just put things in there that I'm not necessarily using for the moment. So alright, so this is my 125 folder. So what I'm going to do in here is this is my art file. So these are where I put all the files that I use for my mockups. So they're in a separate folder. I try to keep things separated for me so that I know where everything is. So this is going to be my background, and I'm just going to change this to, I'm adding the last name so I know. Actually, I put it in the front so I know who it is. So again, I just add that name to it, and I'm going to save that. So that's my background only. I'm going to, so if I enable my mask, that will just give me what I need as far as my foreground. So this will be the foreground image. It's going to have everything on here that I'm going to use for my oversized print, for my all over. So I actually don't want to use that one. So let's disable that. I tend to use my other one. So I'm going to Command 0, go out. My stove. So if I go to this one right here. So maybe it's my 13 by 19 print. I actually use this one as my foreground. So this is actually my foreground print. Now I am going to, let me close up this one and unlock that one. So again, if I just wanted the background only for this, if I turn off this background, I will use this that I have right here saved, and I can actually save that as my foreground. So I just turned off the background. That's it. I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to right click, export as a PNG, and I'm going to save this as the foreground. Simply because I don't want the grunge in the back, so when I get ready to place this other places, I don't have that there. If I need to put it on there, then I will put it there, but for the most part, I only like to use the just the foreground without my background color in it. Now, if I want to do this background alone and I only want to save that for just certain things, then you can always right click and save it, but I prefer to just use the overall print that I have here for that. Now for that shirt, if I'm doing a 13 by 19, I will just put the whole thing, but I'll save this as one just in case I need it. So I'm gonna save that as Nichols. I'll just do like 13 by 19 background. So again, I'd rather go ahead and save everything and kind of pick and choose what I need to use versus having to come back and doing it later. All right, so I have the background, I have my foreground, and then what they consider the art file was actually the whole design that I saved the first time. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to save a separate one of these as the art file, because this is the entire shirt file. So if I'm putting this on something else, then I will have the art file that I need. So again, I'm going to save it as Nichols, and I'm just going to save this as art. So if I pull up my files, right, so if I pull up my files and I go into my art file, you're going to see all 4 of those that I saved. So I have my just the little grunge background for the 13 by 19. I have my art background, which is the entire shirt for if I'm doing an overprint. But again, you use this file if you're doing a banner or anything large, then I have the whole entire art file and I don't have to place anything. I have the actual grunge background by itself, but I'm actually going to go in here and change this because I forgot. I just have the grunge. I don't have any of my splashes, so I'm actually going to go back and resave both of those backgrounds to add my splashes. And then this is just the foreground that I would use if I just needed just that section. So let me actually go back really quick, and I'm going to resave these because I want my white splashes in here as well. So I'm going to zoom out, go back to here with this background. So for my background, let me find my splashes. So I'm actually just going to make a quick group out of these. So I'm going to select all of these right here. So I clicked on this one, and I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to click on that very bottom one, and I'm going to right click, and I am going to create a group from the layers. So I'm just going to name this as, we could do this as the background, which is fine for now. So now I have that one group as the background. So that is everything. So I'm actually going to right click, and I'm going to save this one as a quick PNG. I'm going to actually replace the background that I already have here. So I'm going to go to that background, and I'm actually going to save over that one. So I'm going to click save. Do I want to replace? Yes, because I want to make sure that that includes my paint splashes. And I'm going to do the same thing. I don't think this one has paint splashes. Let's see. Oh, it does. Oh yeah, it does have some. So they're right here. So I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to right click on the paint splash, and I'm going to go all the way down to my last thing, which is my smart color 2. And I'm going to create a group from these. So right click, group from layers. And I'm just going to do background 1319 so I remember. So that's going to be that background, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to quick export as a PNG. And I'm going to find that background right here, which is the Nicholas background, 13 by 19 background. And I'm going to save over that. So I want to replace it. Yes, I do. All right. So now I have that one saved. So if we pull these back over so that you can see these, they're still updating. So now I have my paint splashes on my 13 by 19. I have my whole art file. I have my background that includes the paint splashes this time. And then I have my foreground. So these are going to be the 4 things that you're going to need to pretty much do any other mockups. So I will record another video to show you guys how I actually work with the mockup process. I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy.